Welcome to the Autoplay Initiation Applications Episode 3. We're at the Rock Raceway on a Wednesday night where the track is open for 200-meter heads-up racing and the occasional spin or drift session. The reason we're here is to give you a feel for the atmosphere we're hoping to achieve during the practice session of our event, where the track will be open to all competitors and some exhibition cars. These race nights at the Rock are hosted by Victor, the craziest automotive MC in Africa. And just like all the events you find him and the Southside crew involved in, the execution is perfectly professional without getting in the way of any of the automotive fun. If you haven't been to one of these Wednesday night races at the Rock and you live in Gauteng, you really should make an effort to go have some fun. Now we can get back to our iNitiation 2017 applicants. This beautiful Hawk STI belongs to Wayne Hay, a legend in the Subaru community and the local circuit racing leagues.
Before I had a Subaru, I drove a bakkie all my life. So I never raced at all. My son and I did a little bit of off-road go-karting at one stage. And then in 2004 I bought an STI. Then slowly got into it. I went to a track stay at Swartkorps, did a little bit here, joined the Subaru Owners Club, and did a couple of driving events then. And that's, I guess, when the bug bit. So when I bought this car new in 2006, that's when I started getting a little bit more serious about it. The first track that I went to, blew the head gaskets, was fixed under warranty. I blew the head gaskets again. And then this was a few months later, and then you started to hear stories from around the world and locally of the piston issues and the head gasket issues and those kinds of things. So I decided to go back to the 2-litre platform. At the time I bought a Spec C engine from a rally team, and I was going to take it to a workshop to do the work. When I spoke to the guys, I got the feeling that this wasn't going to be an easy engine out, engine in. I thought I would rather than tackle it myself. And that's really where I learned how to work on this. Because at the time I was manufacturing furniture. I had a business manufacturing furniture. So, I ended up having to change the entire wiring harness. It became a big project. But that's where I really learned how the car works. That 2-litre engine, when I rebuilt it a couple of years later, we decided to go with a stroker. So it's a 2.2. A little bit smaller than a 2.2 litre. Over the years I managed to get my hands on a closed deck block. So I've got a proper factory closed deck with oil squirters, 2.5 litre crank. I've got eagle rods in it.
1,000 horsepower?
No.
600?
They're not, yeah.
The 1,000s are a bit big, they make the car a bit lazy.
They're too heavy. Absolutely.
And you've got the stock stud bolts on the rod?
No.
ARP?
Spec C heads, because those heads came with that Spec C engine that I bought. Spec C heads have got slightly higher lifting cams. Over the years I've put in different springs and retainers. Brian Crower. My gearbox actually comes from a Spec C hatch. December 2015, January 2016. I put on a bigger turbo and rotate mounted it. But up until then it had been a stock twin scroll turbo. Eventually my philosophy was, if it doesn't contribute to forward motion, then it must go. So aircon went, radio went. Those were the first kinds of things that we attacked. Then you start stripping more and more weight. A long time ago I gave up the idea of ever putting it back to stock. I knew it was never going to be that kind of car. So the fuel tank is out. There's a fuel cell and a surge tank. So you can run with as little fuel in the tank as possible. Again, weight saving. 40 or 50 litres of weight sloshing around from left to right in the car isn't great for handling. Fueling, external Bosch fuel pump.
044?
1000cc injectors, water mist to cool intake temperatures. The car's been tuned to 1.8 bar.
What turbo do you have in this car?
I've got a JP 550 rotate mount. Different intercooler, because of the 1.8 bar, again, I used the stock intercooler for years. Worked perfectly well. But I was concerned that going up to 1.8 bar would be a little bit too much for that intercooler. I liked them because they're light and they shed heat very quickly. The aftermarket ones are heavy. There's a lot of aluminium in there. When they heat soaked, it takes a lot of time to get rid of that heat. So I liked the OEM one, but like I say, it just couldn't handle the bigger boost. Like I say, it's tuned to 1.8 bar, but on track I've got to turn it down to 1.6. Otherwise it's too much of a handful. You know, it starts breaking away in corners. It starts to become a little bit difficult to drive. It's nice to have that little bit of boost in hand. If you find that you need to pick up a bit of time, you've got a little bit to work with.
You're gonna pick up the boost at the drag event, aren't you?
I will. Yeah, no, sure. You're not taking corners. So there it's, yeah, full steam. Also a manual boost controller, not electronic, and it's now making 300 kilowatts, 298.
On the wheel?
On the wheels.
That's a nice number.
And again, 496 newtons. So essentially,
And 1.6 or 1.8?
500 newtons at 1.8.
What suspension does it have?
At the moment, there's Tyne Monoflex. My favorite coilovers are KWs, and one of them has been sent to Germany to get fixed, which is why I don't have the KWs on at the moment. But the Tynes, yeah, the Tynes are working. You know, for a lot of people, they're not fond of them. They're too harsh or too hard or whatever. But yeah, that doesn't bother me. You know? So the Tyne Monoflex with EDFC, so I can control dampening inside the car. My favorite mod, power brake, big brake kit.
Spoken like a true champion and driven like a real hero. No wonder you love your brakes more than anything else, because you really know how to get that car moving. Wayne definitely features as one of our favorites to finish in the top 10 of our circuit event. From a track monster onto a barnstormer. Take a look at how Christopher's tidy single-turboed N54 135i gets to 240 kilometers an hour like it's nothing. Yes, she's not just a looker, she's an utter brute. And get this, Christopher doesn't just want to enter the drag challenge, he also wants to enter the circuit challenge.
A good look at my boost box. With a clamp hanging, in case one blows off.
However, that's JP. This is Christopher.
Who built the pipes? It was Rainbow Drag Strip. I was 8 years old. My dad took me to my first race. I was hooked from there.
And when did you open your own shop?
9 years ago.
And you went from specializing in Opals to working on almost everything?
Yeah, always drove Opals and then naturally went into the OPCs.
This goes with this book. Bottom end, crankshaft?
All stock sub-assembly, stock head, N54 motor. Was twin turbo, now we changed it to single turbo. GTX 35, 82R. Everything built here in South Africa, nothing's flown in. Built by us, tuned by us, and she's just shy of 700 horse when she's running properly, with the right fuel. 40% ethanol, that's when she's happy.
Fuel pump?
Warbro, 450 in the back. Got port injection as well, and meth injection as well. It's also got a nitrous kit on it, 75 shot, it was on 200 shot. Sometimes the car bogs between gears, then we'll just tap the nitrous just to get the car going again.
Suspension?
Suspension got a custom H&R kit in it. The guys at Kone SA helped us out with that. Could never get the car to sit right, so I gave them the car and they gave me the car back like 2 weeks later and it was magic. It's got all the nice gauges, FA ratio, boost gauge and nitrous gauge all inside the car. Steering wheel, gear lever and handbrake lever all come from M3 CSL E46. This is actually the line lock. So you can hear it, I don't know if you hear it clicking.
You can.
So the line lock basically allows me to engage the front brakes only so that I can do a proper burnout with the car. I don't know if you saw that early on in the evening.
I bet you all want to know where we went earlier on that evening. Stay tuned, we're not done with this private stretch of road yet, otherwise known as a closed track. However, this track is straight out of Need for Speed Underground. Remember the Underground Racing League? Welcome to the 011s.
Yeah, no, this is the shit I gotta deal with. You know what it is to keep a straight face? I've got these monkeys behind me. This is so hard. You're such a dick. Why did you stop them? Stop! Yes, thank you. Be off it, buddy. You wanker. Stop!
Someone had a pen and paper. I want his autograph.
You're next, son. Hey, your turn's coming.
Now that you've met the man that thinks it's hard to be in front of the camera, but will happily convert an N54 into a single relocated giant turbo, let's go back to his shop, CCD. Everyone that's ever followed my vlog series will know that myself and Christopher go all the way back to episode 3. And in that episode, there was a BMW 135i undergoing a similar single turbo conversion. On the right is Christopher's good friend Kenneth, and these two are busy strapping on a GT3071R to Kenneth's N55 powered 135i. Along with the big turbo are a number of other mods, including a healthy shot of NOS. This car's also an iNitiation 2017 applicant. However, tonight they're both prepping for their local racing league, held on that private stretch of road we showed you earlier. Before we depart to the 011's underground racing league, people need to eat because it's going to be a long night. It's a good thing Chris doesn't just know how to make cars go fast. Once everyone was fed, we all congregated at a garage before departing to this isolated, desolate, privately owned, closed track. Oh boy, what a fun convoy it was to the racing location. And what an awesome location these folks have to race.
Yes, you guys know, this is all a team thing. I do this for all of you guys do this for us. Understand, like I said, we don't care about a spectator. Spectator to me means nothing. Yes, it is always nice, it gets the crowd, the vibe going if you have the right spectators, right or wrong. I'm sure you guys agree. We've had 2 years of racing, and I tell you something, we've had nights where I promise you I go home and I just sleep for 3 hours, just still got blood pumping. Understand? So if I say from now on we are not going to race, the usual guys you put up here, and I know Chris and Dave, I know it's hard for you guys, and Kenneth, you guys are die-hard supporters of the racing game.
This is straight up underground racing. And that's a very strong Golf 7R. Don't let looks deceive you. This is the 011. So this front wheel drive turbocharged Corolla is going to be fast. Here we have a nitrous-fed M135i about to challenge a 1JZ powered Toyota Corolla. As they pulled up to the line, the Toyota realized he didn't have enough heat in the rear tires. However, warming them almost killed everybody. So the BMW ran away. With the start line empty, the JDM car now has the floor to properly warm up the semis he has on the rear. Then a solo run to make sure they bite. Now we can have that heads up we wanted. Oh wait, first the BMW has to make sure the nitrous tap is open.
I wasn't sure.
Remember that N55 135i Kenneth and Chris were strapping a big turbo to? Well, here it is, ready to race. It's actually Kenneth's race car, and he's about to go up against the M135i with a whole host of undisclosed modifications. Bear in mind, the white car is running nitrous on a fresh turbo setup that still hasn't been tuned yet. Now it's the 1J's turn to race a whole host of undisclosed mods. After Kenneth and Chris are done mucking about, the 1J Corolla and Kenneth's 135i are gonna have a run. And now, the rematch. That Toyota really is something else.
These boys will look for any excuse to say they've beaten 011. 2 years running, there's not a team, not any car to come here and take out any of our fastest, any of our average, compared to their average and their fastest.
That's right, this strip is home to some of the fastest road cars in Gauteng. So we might as well say South Africa. And Autoplay is going to bring you a whole new video series purely focused on Gauteng's underground racing scene. Like and follow our Facebook page, then subscribe to our YouTube channel to make sure you don't miss it.